Welcome to the Self-Help Coaching Podcast, where insights, attitudes, and methods for success get illuminated. Learn what leaders and change workers have done and are doing now to create magnificent futures. We interview great guests who inspire you to overcome obstacles and achieve your goals. Be sure you visit our website at self-helpcoaching.com. While you're there, subscribe to us via your favorite network. Now, just relax as you listen. You can do something else, but be ready to make an important note. And let's get started.
The title of this interview is How to Change Your Life for the Better. Reiki. I like that. And I ask that listeners and some viewers, or however you're listening or watching this podcast, that you have an open mind for this discussion. An open mind. I like a great little saying that I've heard many years ago. The mind is like a parachute. It works best when it's open. So keep your mind open. And we're going to be talking about Reiki and how Reiki helps a person in everyday life by altering the perception of who he, she, or they truly are by realigning the spirit, mind, heart, and soul. My guest is L.T. Hill, J.D. And for those of you who don't know, that's Juris Doctorate. She has a legal background. And she is a writer and the sole proprietor of I Am Reiki Now. By the way, that's spelled I Am Reiki, R-E-I-K, Now, N-O-W, and that's trademark or registered. So that's very cool. Very cool, LT. And she is, that is an energy healing company based in Los Angeles. She is certified as a Usui Reiki Oho, registered Holy Fire the Third, Karuna Reiki Master teacher. Now that is a very impressive title, and don't be overwhelmed by it. I'm sure she'll get into it. But Reiki is something that's been around a long time, and I really look forward to this conversation. I'll get into it in shortly, but let me finish her bio. It's very interesting. Her Reiki practice is focused on client and student success and connecting with spirit and Reiki energy. LT is an expert teacher on Insight Timer, which is a title, capital I, capital T, Insight Timer. Which, by the way, LT, what is Insight Timer?
Insight Timer is a meditation app. It's a global meditation app worldwide. So I'm one of their expert teachers where I have a bunch of Reiki meditations that people can listen to help them to release whatever condition that's going on. And I'm about to have a course on it. Yeah.
Oh, great. That's fantastic. And by the way, for those of you who don't meditate, if you want to know how beneficial meditation is, meditate for a while, and then you'll know how beneficial it is. That it's one of the most beneficial and incredible things that any person could do for themselves, totally free too. Right? Anytime you can do it. And with her meditations, she is published internationally. She is helping to spread Reiki worldwide. She recently released a handbook called Reiki Vibrations with 33 meditations and affirmations. It is available online and offers healers practice advice, meditations, and affirmations that may be used professionally and personally. LT, by the way, her birth name is LaTanya, but we're going to call her LT. I just want to put it out there, just we get the complete picture. LT has also been featured in Shout Out SoCal magazine for her business acumen and dedication in the Reiki field. That is great. LT, welcome to the podcast.
Oh my God, thank you so much. Thank you for inviting me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, it's my pleasure. And by the way, for those who, and only a tiny amount of people are watching this as opposed to those who listen. If you're just listening, I invite you to go over to YouTube and check it out, because LT is a very attractive woman, so you can check her out. I say that very professionally. We have some issues where we both have a San Francisco background going on right now, a virtual one. So neither of us are in Frisco. She's in LA, a little south, and I'm way east, 3,000 miles. So, and the backgrounds are a little skewy, which is fine. San Francisco's like that anyway. But I do invite you to check us out on YouTube if it's convenient for you. But I'm really I'm really delighted to have you on here because I have all sorts of personal development people on here. And
Right.
I haven't had a Reiki master yet. And I know some people, or a lot of people, even I was just talking about this with my girlfriend last night, think it's woo. I said to her, you know, and woo, by the way, for those of you who don't know woo, that means like, you know, like new agey mystery, not based in science.
Yeah.
You know, and you can think that that's fine, but you know, I'm here and I'm going to say a few things that are, I'm not advocating, but that are in support of it. And first thing I'm going to say about Reiki, and you're going to be telling us about Reiki, but I want to segue to it with this, is that the person who certified me, I'm a personal development coach, even though I don't work with people one-on-one anymore. I'm the head of a tech company, and we're launching our revolutionary app. But you know, I used to work one-on-one with people all the time, and I was certified as a life coach. And I'm a practitioner of neuro-linguistic programming. Very cool stuff. And the person who certified me, Melissa Tiers, who's a well-known and respected hypnotherapist here in New York, she introduced me to EFT, emotional freedom technique,
Yeah.
and you know, NLP. What really made NLP famous in the 70s was its fast phobia cure, which is incredible, and we still use it today. It's so effective. And she said that EFT was even better than the NLP fast phobia cure and helping people get rid of phobias. And I was like, what? Are you kidding me? She goes, yes. And so the EFT has to do with touch, right? And it's almost like a physical hypnotherapy. And so what Reiki is definitely touch. Okay, so there's a lot to be said about touch, and the healing powers of touch, and the powers of energy. You know, we are energy creatures, believe it or not. And so Reiki, I know Reiki deals with both of that. So I'm you know, standing up for Reiki right off the bat. And I'm also going to say that the power of belief, and I don't say this with any sort of condescension, the power of belief is everything. You know, the only difference between a swimmer and a person who can't swim is that one believes he or she can, the other one doesn't. So belief is everything. All right. So that all said, welcome very much, LT. Thank you for being here. I want to learn about Reiki in a more comprehensive way. I want you to shed light for our audience and illuminate. And let's get to the obvious question right out of the gate. What is Reiki?
Okay, so everyone likes to give a standard reply of Reiki being a hands-on, hands-off technique, Japanese technique that removes like blockages and negative energy by channeling universal energy to the person. Okay, that's the standard. Me, I like to go a little deeper because Reiki for me is deeper. And when I teach and train people and I'm going into sessions, I let them know Reiki is basically, it is a reconnection to the spirit and to that universal source that we had when we were a little kid, when everything was possible. It's almost exactly what you said about the mind. Like it releases all of those impressions and negativity and all those thoughts of what you can't do and what you shouldn't do that society and family and friends and everyone else has placed up on us, and allows you to be like your true 100% authentic self with your own individual thoughts, feelings, and like judgments about everything. It just clears you away and reconnects you to the source and everything around you. It is an energy that we are all have, that we're all a part of. And it's just life. It is peace. It's serenity. It's everything that you wish you could have and that you pray for and you don't get because you're letting other outside sources influence your life. And Reiki cleans all that away. And you're just
So that sounds like an awesome outcome. How does it do that?
So basically, it really is that channeling of energy. You need someone who is a healer, who has been attuned. And when I say attuned, and when we say attuned, we mean like all your energy channels are opened up, not just the 7 major chakras of the root and the sacral, solar plexus, and all of that stuff, but like your ear chakras, the back of your head, the chakras, the hand chakras, like all your energy points in your body are opened up and cleared away of all of those like emotional traumas and those like mental and physical issues that have prevented you from just 100% focusing your mind on the things you need to do and what and who you are in this world. It clears all of that out just by releasing those emotions in that physical and spiritual body around you. It is a little woo-hoo, as people say, as in people like, oh, I just can't grasp this concept. But when you get on that table and you start literally feeling energy moving through your body and start sensing these emotions that come up that you didn't even know existed and you thought that you had overcome, but you didn't. You just hid them somewhere in your body, in your organ or in a muscle or just like hanging around, and it just comes up and you start crying and boo-hooing and releasing on the table, and then you're like, I feel so much better. And then that situation comes at you again and you don't have that same negative reaction. That's when you know, like, oh my God, this is real.
The proof is always in the pudding.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
yeah, I promise you, on my website, I put testimonials. I mean, and on my Instagram, I put testimonials about that because of exactly what you said. You know, some people, they know, they believe, and others don't. And I'm like, okay, I'm just going to put random people doing testimonials and people doing Reiki, and then you can see it for yourself. I don't, yeah, you, like you said, you can believe or you cannot believe, but I'm going to put it up there.
So LT, so you touch the client, right? Not like a massage, but it's
no. I'm touching like the energy channels or wherever. I do intuitive.
You're touching softly. You're touching softly.
Okay. Yes, it's like a soft touch. Or this is a beautiful part. I don't even need to touch. I can just hover over those particular channels or issues or parts of the body or even in the aura and just clear them away as the energy goes through my body into that person's
so you sense them, you sense the energies, chakras and such, and you talk to the client in some positive way? Or
I do. I give meditations, which is what meditation is. I give meditations or I give affirmations within the session. I don't ask for information ahead of time. Because I don't want to taint the session. I want people to understand that it's real.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's a great introduction. Now we have a good idea. Let's take a quick break to hear from our sponsor, and we'll be right back with LT Hill, Reiki Master.
This episode of Self-Help Coaching is brought to you by Perficio. Perficio learns more about you as you make progress and then uses that information to help you even more. It is quasi-AI. Visit www.perficio.io. That's PERFICIO.io, where you can be helped by something that learns more about you, because that is the difference that makes the difference.
You're listening to the Self-Help Coaching Podcast with me, your host, Tony Petrozza. We're discussing Reiki with LT Hill. She is a Reiki Master. She's just told us what Reiki is and explained the basic dynamics of it. It's very interesting. It's got me intrigued. So you've also intrigued me as well. How did you get interested in Reiki?
I was actually guided there spiritually. I was sick. I was very ill. I got diagnosed with rheumatic fever over like 8 years ago. And if you don't know what it is, it's like a condition that basically causes physical pain throughout the entire body and can actually stop your heart. So if it goes to that level. And so I was in treatment for a long time. Basically just going through the motions, still in pain, but it just lightened it a little bit. And so one day I was like off work and I was doing I had like surgeries and everything and for other stuff. And I was just like, I'm a natural healer. I grew up in healing. My family was very much into the spiritual world and everything. I grew up around psychics and healers and everything. So I'm like, let me reconnect to what I know, what I've done. And I was just like, I need to find a way. And I I prayed about it. And the next morning I woke up and I heard you need to learn Reiki. And I was like, what's Reiki?
Wait. You didn't know what Reiki is, and then you had this idea in your head that Reiki is what you need to learn about?
Yeah.
That's wild.
Yeah. It was just crazy. Like literally the night before, I'm like, I'm in pain. I'm tired of this pain. This stuff isn't working. It's just too much for me. What do I need to do? I want to go back to healing. And I was always trying to put my own energy in my body, and I'm like, I can heal myself, I can do this. And then again, like I said, I woke up in the morning after like deep prayer at night, and it was just like, you need to learn Reiki. That was the first thought in my mind. And I was like, what's that? I looked it up online. I'm like, oh my God, we do that down south. You lay on hands all the time. so I was like, this is within my wheelhouse. Let me look it up a little more. And then it was just like, honestly, it was just like the universe just set me up for everything. There was a class, and I took the class, signed up immediately. It was just like, it was almost like it was second nature, like I've been doing it my whole life. And I just kept progressing from Reiki practitioner 1 to 2 to Reiki Master to like Holy Fire Reiki Master.
What's the difference between a Reiki Master and 1 and 2?
So a Reiki 1 person is basically self-healing. You just get like just a small amount of channels are opened up, and it's just for self-healing and everything. Reiki practitioner 2, again, it's like more channels are opened up in your body, like more energy is going through. You get a higher grain of knowledge. You get symbols that you can use in the healing to help enhance. And basically the symbols are really just a sign for that particular energy, like emotional or security or like distance symbol if you're doing distance Reiki and stuff, to connect you to that type of energy. And you're able to practice. You know, as a Reiki 1, the country won't let you practice, but as a Reiki 2, you can. And yeah. That's why a lot of people, they'll just go bypass 1 and go straight to 2 because they want to open up a Reiki practice. And that's the only way you can do it. The state tried to regulate it, but the government tried to regulate Reiki, but how do you regulate like energy around you? How do you regulate that kind of stuff? So I don't know, they probably will figure out a way. But and then the Reiki Master is, there are 2 types. You can have a regular Reiki Master who's just at a higher level of energy healing for more serious problems and issues. And like, again, a lot more energy channels are opened up. So they have a lot more flowing through them, and they can help like multiple levels, even sometimes past life issues. I know it gets really deep, it gets really spiritual. And then you have a Reiki Master teacher, which is what I am. And with the teacher level, I can teach everyone from like a Karuna Reiki Master all the way down to a Reiki 1.
What is that Holy Fire 3 Karuna thing that I mentioned?
This is, now let me tell you, like, this is William Rand from the International Center for Reiki Training. William Rand created this. He was divinely given this like energy from him, and him with help of like some psychics and stuff. And I know we're going into like really deep waters here, but let
me say something on that. You know, psychics, of course, you know, there's a lot of they have a lot of stigma, and you know, there are known charlatans. But you know, when it comes to psychics, you know, there are all sorts of things at play that we can't see and we don't understand. And there are people who are very intelligent, much smarter than me, will talk about psychic phenomena and the ability of the mind to do more than we think it can. So there's a lot of stuff out there that says that there's some psychic ability, and that is an unknown ability that, you know, that some people can attest to, and science says that, you know, can say, well, you know, even perhaps in the future, telekinesis is possible, which is moving stuff with your mind, or telepathy, reading minds. But the power of the mind is unknown. It is just incredible. I mean, the difference between someone who uses their mind and someone who doesn't is night and day.
Yeah.
So I'm going to defend, you know, I'm defending the mind there.
Thank you.
Not necessarily psychic,
right.
You know, psychic, but the mind.
That is true. Yeah. Thank you so much for that. I appreciate that, because I definitely, like I said, I grew up around people who had those particular abilities, and it is what you say. They really focus and honed in and use their mind like nobody else, you know, like, and they were right. A lot of times they were absolutely correct. And so I definitely believe in it. And you're right, there are a lot of charlatans out there too. So you just have to be very careful. But so William Rand, yeah, he worked with healers and psychics and created this energy of holy fire, which basically, it's not a religion. Let's be clear about this first and foremost, because you get holy fire, you're like, oh, a religion. No, it's not a religion. It is a philosophical thought and a way of life, and a spiritual way of life. And so with Holy Fire 3, it's just a particular type. Like Usui is a particular type, and named after the creator Mikhail Usui, and then Holy Fire 3 was given to William Rand. He said from above and from the creator, and it uses angels and guides and not just like Christian, but whatever religion and background you are, you can use it. Like even like Buddha, if you say like Buddha is my, who I'm a Buddhist and this is what I believe in and this is what I'm going for, then you use that. You use nature, you use those kind of things. But for me, I grew up Baptist, so I talk Michael and Jesus and everything like that. But
I like that sort of eclectic approach is the way, that's my approach. I mean, I'm a Christian, even though I'll bet 99% of Christians would say, Tony, you ain't no Christian. I believe in reincarnation. I believe I believe in what makes sense.
Yeah.
To me, what makes the most sense is most probably the truth. And so, my beliefs are varied because, what works, what makes sense. I go for that. I don't go for what's just been handed to me in dogma. So that's where it's at for me. But yeah, I like to compare us in a way about in Reiki, because, I created a virtual coaching program called Proficio. I'm an NLP practitioner. I'm way into personal development, self-help, and that's great. But, by yourself, you talked about the Reiki one, there are limitations and you're in the picture. Yeah. So it's hard to see the bigger picture, especially when you're more emotionally attached. So you can do a lot with personal development, but when you get someone else like a Reiki 2 or especially a master like you are, then you get so much more because you get the expertise, you get the other view, and you get the accountability and the expert feedback, and not to mention the expertise per se. So, and that's what I did with my virtual coaching program, Proficio. We created this automated coach, self-help coach, which would help a person, because when you're by yourself, you have these limitations, these constraints. But when you have someone, or in this case, an automation, a computer, help you along the way, that you get so much more out of it. And that's what we did with Proficio. It's completely customized, automated, it's computerized, so it's expert. And you're that expert in this, so there's nothing like it. You can't overestimate the value of an expert helping you, watching you, using their expertise in helping you. Because I have no doubt that Reiki 1 is great. Yeah. I really don't. But there's, with someone who like yourself coming in there and doing quote unquote your magic, that's a whole other level.
It definitely is. I have students who, well, actually just one student, I'm trying to make her a 2. She's stuck. She wants to stay with Reiki 1 because she doesn't want the responsibility of a 2 and a master.
It is right. When you, especially, we're in the healing and therapeutic arts here. That's a great responsibility. Yeah. I've coached a lot of people that have subsequently killed themselves. Kidding. I'm totally kidding. All right. I have, like, when I was a personal development coach working one-on-one, I had about a 90% success rate. You cannot always get it. And some people are unreasonable, and, you can never be all things to all people, but you got to take responsibility, as a professional and dealing with people, for what you do. I mean, when I just had this discussion the other day, I'm a recovered addict, 21 years, long time, clean and sober. And I went to a meeting recently, and I rarely ever go, someone said I should go. So I went with them. And I told them, I never take any responsibility for sponsees that I sponsored, because my recovery was always my responsibility. Right. It's always my responsibility. So your personal development is always your responsibility. But, you get someone like yourself, a Reiki master. Now you're taking even more responsibility for yourself, because you're reaching out and you're saying, hey, you're an expert. Do your expertise on me. That's you taking responsibility for your own personal development. I'm the one who personally develops, but I'm saying, LT, guide me, help me.
That's true. Yeah, no, that's absolutely right. I actually, believe it or not, some people I don't even take. I won't take them as clients because they're not ready, because they don't understand, like, yes, I can put you in a room and I can do, as you say, the magic. I can do the Reiki and channel, and we can bring about and release all those hidden traumas and everything and bring them forth. But like, you also need to take the next step, which is continue the process. Everyone leaves my sessions with homework. I give them meditations, I give them affirmations, I check up, I follow up. It is your app. I am your app.
Right. Well, that's what I do with my app. You're a human, obviously, and you have all this knowledge and experience. And most people don't even want that, especially in this digital age. Right. So I said, okay, I said, yes, let me give them what they want. This computer, which is obviously not a human, that knows them intimately, knows exactly what they want, and doesn't judge them. That's a big thing with people, right. And it's always there for them, and that's great. But it has its own natural limitations. You, of course, are a person, and you are able to see things and do things not as an automaton, but as a very cognizant, sentient person who's able to know all things. So you have your differences, but there are also similarities as well.
Right.
So I did try to mimic you, but I haven't, I haven't invented a computer that's gonna lay hands yet. Maybe in the future.
Well, you never know, right? The science is catching up with spirit.
It is catching up. Let's take a quick moment to hear from our sponsor, and we'll come right back with LT Hill.
This episode of Self-Help Coaching is brought to you by Perphysio. Poor finances are the leading cause of stress, divorce, and general troubles. Financial managers, coaches, and consultants are great, but responsibility rests with you. There are new answers. Visit www.perphysio.io. That's PERFICIO.io, where you can truly learn the foundational attitudes and methods of accruing wealth and staying wealthy.
You're listening to the Self-Help Coaching Podcast with me, your host, Tony Petrozza. We're speaking with LT Hill, Reiki Master. Very intriguing conversation, discussion. She is delightful. She has a fountain of knowledge. And we're going to continue our discussion about Reiki. Why do you believe Reiki can help others?
Because it helped me. Like I said, when I was sick, and I used Reiki to basically get myself out of this pain cycle that I was in. I Reiki'd myself every single day. I did my meditations. I tested it out. I really went there with Reiki, and it not only my physical body did it help to change and put me in remission with rheumatic fever, but it also changed my perception about life and people. And that's when you go to those deeper levels, that I was talking about. Like, you really understand like who we are as people, and that we're so connected. And like, even though you and I are in two separate places, although we look like we're in the same place.
Yeah, we both have a San Francisco background, for those who are not watching us on YouTube.
Yeah, but like I feel like your energy. I feel like I'm a part of you, and I don't know how you feel about me, but
I feel very good.
I really, really feel like we're connected, and I'm a part of you, and that at any moment in time, like, I could reach out to you spiritually and just have a conversation with you. And that's what Reiki did for me. It opened my eyes up to not see people as separate entities, but as one human race all together.
Yes.
So even when someone comes at me with like negativity and anger and hostility, that old person before Reiki would have just like been there with them and gone down with them. But with Reiki, like, I see the pain, I see the hurt, I see the frustration, and I know it's not really that person. It's a situation that has made this particular negative emotion come out. And so I'm able to like send them like my love and my understanding and peace, and bring that situation down. It literally changed my life. That's why I think it can help other people. I'm a witness. I'm a walking witness to it.
Yeah, I believe it. I can see it. You're a messenger, but and there are all kinds of messages, different kinds, and you're one kind, this Reiki kind, and it's really wonderful. We're in the same tribe, you and I, and we have different kinds of messages, but we're here to help people, to help people realize their true self, which is not that negativity, not that baseness. That's something that's a mistake that we picked up, if you will, and when we can clear it up, we're using my message or using your message, the same same process, same outcome, is to realize your true self. And we all have the same, it's a really weird thing for people, it's almost a cliche that we're all one, but it's absolutely true.
Yeah.
Human consciousness is all exactly the same. When you wake up, you think about, okay, what's going on in my day? Everybody has the same consciousness, the same thought. They go about their day, they think thoughts, they have beliefs. That's what's different, is their minds, but the consciousness that the mind perceives is exactly the same for every single person. This
Yes.
wakeness. Okay,
Yes.
what am I doing now that I'm awake? Okay,
Yes.
it's all the same for everybody. Oh, I'm hungry. Oh, I'm horny. Oh, I'm this.
Yes.
Whatever. That everybody has the same consciousness. They just have different minds, and there are
Right.
different messages with different ways to help us realize our true selves. And that's quite obvious to me that we're in the same tribe.
Can I speak on that? Like what you
Please.
just said is, that's how Reiki works too. It's different for every single person. It is the same healing energy. Three different Reiki healers can work on the same person. They'll get the same result, but it's interpreted a different way. Wow. Based on the energy in the person.
Right.
There are people who actually hear like voices talking to them, telling them what to do. There are people who see colors. There are people who have smells. There are people who just have feel this energy. But in the end, the result is all the same. The person has the same particular, I felt this release from my heart. I saw a vision of my heart and me as a kid, and they just pulled everything out of me, and it's the same. It is amazing. What you just said is absolutely how Reiki works in a session and in training. Yeah.
LT, what type of people get Reiki, and how does it help them, or how did it help them?
Everybody. I have had children on the table. I've had business professionals. I've had creatives. I've every walk of life. I've had students, people now. I've had, my latest one was a few students who are getting degrees in psychology and psychiatry because they want to use it in their practice, which is something I love. And I think that it should be integrated in everything.
That's great. There are more and more therapists these days, psychologists, LCSWs, become trained as coaches, because you bring a whole other dynamic. Therapy is more or less reconciling with the past. Coaching is more about focusing on the future, about creating a goal or being a certain way. In Reiki, a person can be a psychologist and then do therapy or whatever, and then offer this healing touch, or this, or whatever more Reiki is.
Yeah, they can do it distantly. While they're actually working and talking with the person, they could be sending that person Reiki and feeling the parts of their body that are affecting them. In sessions, when you're working with people, you can talk to them. I mean, some people are quiet, but the session is your session, right? Everyone's an individual. And I've had people who like to talk, and as they're talking, it's amazing how the energy starts pulling in certain areas. When they talk about their life experience in their childhood, it could go anywhere from the heart chakra to their solar plexus to their foot even, because they have maybe hidden something deep down inside, which is stability, and it goes down to the root, to the your foot chakra and stuff. So it's crazy. Yeah, they can do it. You can use it in therapy. And I say crazy as in amazing. It's amazing.
Thank you for that clarification.
It's like little slang.
So along those lines, what do you think about the people who think that it is fake?
I say check out my Instagram, and you'll see people who are from every walk of life, teachers, students, professionals, who can definitely testify to what they have experienced. We've had people here who, definitely there was this one gentleman who was no. He was very serious that he was not going to get on the table. His wife can do whatever, but he's I don't believe in none of this stuff. He was point blank. He was very honest about it. And I was well, just try it out, just for the sake of it, try it out. And at the end, with 3 different healers, he was just okay, there might be something to this. I'm not going to go on camera saying this, but there might be something to this. I felt something. I released some things from my childhood, so the proof, like you said, is in the pudding. You have to try it out. And by the way, do your research. because just like we were talking about psychics or have some charlatans, so does Reiki. You know, there are some people who are at master level who should be like a one or not even, you know. So definitely do your research, and check out, you know, the person, and even ask if you can talk to some of their previous clients if you really want to do this Reiki thing, which is like a whole lifestyle change. If you just want to try it out for one time and woohoo, then I mean, you can, but you might not get the same results you would from someone who really walks the walk and, you know, talks the talk, and really like me. Like, I love everything about Reiki. My whole life is Reiki. I wake up with Reiki. I go to sleep with Reiki.
Wow.
I talk about it all the time. People are so annoyed with me.
No, you're a true practitioner. That's fantastic.
Yeah. I mean, I write about it. I'm like, I do everything. I mean, I'm now a contributing writer for Reiki Raise, which is a whole organization for healers and stuff. And I'm trying to help healers like get to that point where they love it as much as I do, because there are some healers who like maybe they don't because they're scared, because like I said, it can go like a little deep with spiritual stuff where you really do like hear and sense and see things, and you see like other spiritual beings around you when you go into that realm and you get to a certain level. And it freaks people out, because all of us are born with certain gifts, whether we want to admit it or not. We all have these like really special gifts that as a kid, you know, that imaginary friend might not have been an imaginary friend, you know what I mean? That might have been someone from the other side, and they're like tapping into that, and then you lose it as you grow up. But then Reiki will bring that back and you'll see it again. So it's a very spiritual kind of thing. It can be, or you can just keep it light. I like to go deep. I like to like experience.
Hey, I'm very spiritual, and I don't. For those who don't understand spirituality, they just haven't understood it yet. Because I'm not even saying in this in any religious way, but you know, I have a protege. We study the meditations written by Marcus Aurelius 1800 years ago. And he talks about the soul a lot. I go, listen, this for us, at least just for our purposes of our study, the soul is just your top 5 values, what you value most. Let's call that the soul. And so that's the most important thing. So like, for example, just say you value honesty mostly it's in your top 5, but now you find there are times you're dishonest. Well, that's your soul is you're not letting your soul get out there. Okay. Your soul is being trapped by yourself. You haven't realized the soul enough where you're honest all the time. Okay.
Yeah.
So that's so there's a lot to be said with what you're talking about. You know what? Let's take the final break because we're going to say a lot about it, and we're going to have the last segment. And so let's take the last commercial break, and we're going to continue to talk about this and one other question, and continue what you were just talking about. So let's just take our last break. I'll be right back with LT Hill. I got a cat scratching over there. Hello, cat. I got an interview going on. Okay. We'll be right back with LT Hill.
This episode of Self-Help Coaching is brought to you by Proficio. Ever heard of accelerated learning techniques? What if you learned more deeply than ever before? What if you remembered what you learned far better than ever before? Visit www.proficio.io. That's proficio.io, where you can understand perhaps better than ever before.
You're listening to the Self-Help Coaching Podcast with me, your host, Tony Petrozza, and LT Hill, Reiki Master. We're having a fascinating conversation and discussion. You just flashed the peace sign for those of you who are listening. You should check her out on YouTube. Very easy on the eyes. And so you talked about the energies that are trapped in the body. You know, as a practitioner of NLP, neuro-linguistic programming, which is basically the psychology of how we think as opposed to what and why. People don't even realize when you start working with them, about how they think. And actually, we use our whole body, our whole neurology. And when you start working with people and you talk about say sadness, And maybe you'll ask them, how do you know you're sad? Well, I feel like my left knee aching, but I'm being, which is usually never the case, but they don't realize that it's, it's in a part of their body. Then they start thinking about, and then you start getting into how things can change, because it's actually in the body, maybe in an energy way or just in a mind way, it doesn't matter. But once you start getting into the awareness of it, then you can change it, and so that is profoundly valid to me right there, and where did a lot of these things come? Well, most of the stuff comes from our childhood, and the formative years are the most important time. We act out beliefs that we learned when we were kids, when we're 40 years old, and maybe they need an update, these beliefs, or patterns that are that cause us to be dysfunctional. We got to break those patterns, and you do that with an intervention from someone like Reiki or NLP or whatever else. But it comes down to this: if you're not getting the result that you want, if you're having dysfunction, which is to say that you're not functioning, you're not getting the result you want, then you really got to do something different. I don't care what it is. Okay, stand on your head. If that helps, great. Do more of that. But if maybe check out a Reiki master such as LT or an NLP practitioner or whomever, it doesn't matter. But you got to do something different, otherwise it's not going to change. So and people like us, we have a great bunch of testimonials that show that this stuff works. Not every time, but most of the time, we're not gods,
No.
maybe we're small g gods, but we say that with humility. So this is really, I really buy into a lot of this validity here. I think that, again, there's different kinds of messages and different kinds of practices, but again, we're in the same tribe.
We are. I want to talk about, I want to focus in on what you just said about not working all the time. A lot of people, you do need to understand, even with Reiki, of course, it's not 100% effective all the time, because it's a partnership. It really is. And if you decide I don't want this, I'm not into this, then all that energy will just stop, period. There are people who are been on the table with me and they start sensing and feeling things that are just so strong, because like you said, it's emotional trauma coming from the childhood, and it's just too much for them. And I literally can feel them shut down and stop. And
if we make a standard that everything has to work every time, then we would forget about Western medicine, psychology. We forget about relationships. It would be the end of our lives, because that's not realistic at all. That's just trying to be negative or already negative and looking for a reason to not do something, because that's not how reality works. It has to be a lot of nuance or in place for things to be, or enough right things in place for things to work. And it still may not even be a match, even if that's the case. So I think that's a great compliment to what you're saying.
Yes. Thank you so much. It is just you have to want it to work, and you have to be there in the process, especially with Reiki, because it is it's a partnership. And
they've got to want to be better. They got to believe that they can be better, and buy into this to some degree in order for them to start. And that's not charlatanism. That's again, I mentioned at the outset, the placebo effect. People disregard it. That's extremely valuable, and I'm not suggesting that what you're doing is fake. I'm just saying that if you take a sugar pill and you believe that it cures your cancer or whatever, and your cancer is gone, are you going to complain later on that it was a sugar pill?
Exactly.
No. Exactly. If you're healed, you should be your celebration time.
Yes.
And so the placebo effect is very real, and belief is, and buy more of them, and just believe. The power of belief is everything. I mean, you can't fly. You can't say, I believe I can fly. It doesn't work that way. It's much more subtle. It's based in principles and laws of physics. But it's true. What we believe. Go on.
It is. You're absolutely correct. And let's think about this. Your body is built to repair itself.
Mhm.
So what Reiki is doing is basically putting your body back to its natural state, which is to repair itself. We've gotten, and by the way, like, I believe in Western medicine. I don't tell anyone like, oh, come to me and I'll heal you. No, I'm like, did you go to the doctor? I ask those questions. I'm not one of those, but because I think everything should work together.
Yes.
And so I'm like, your natural state is to be in a healing state. So if I cut my finger, then my body's going to heal itself. If I cut it off, I'm going to go to the doctor to put it back on so that it can continue to heal itself. It's the same. It's that particular concept.
Right.
You
So
know,
do you think Reiki is better than Western medicine?
I think it is just as good in a spiritual sense and in a holistic sense. I think that you could definitely benefit from both in a different way. I would never say one thing is better than the other, because what Reiki does spiritually is what Western medicine can't do, which is touch the untouchable and unseen.
I concur totally.
Yeah.
Why one or the other? How about both?
Yeah, exactly. How about both? That's
Great
why
stuff.
I love that. Like, a few of my students are therapists and stuff, and I'm trying to get, like, I have a few nurses who are interested, and they are actually doing it in the hospitals and stuff now. They have Reiki healers helping patients in surgery and after surgery to expedite the healing process. So they're moving in that direction. I just want them to move a little faster and more. That's all.
LT, you have been a wonderful guest. This has been really illuminating and really refreshing for me to have a guest like you on the show. It's been great. I've learned so much, and I'm sure many listeners have too. Do you have any final remarks for the audience?
Well, I would just say, like, give Reiki a chance. It is like one of the best ways to bring about some of your hidden traumas and release them. And also, even for your animals, I'm like a big pet lover. So animals that have trauma, they're energetic creatures. So let your animal Reiki go and give it a chance. And basically, I'm gonna say my tagline, which is always from my heart chakra to yours. I want you guys to feel this love and peace and tranquility that I feel through Reiki. And even if it's not Reiki, just something to help you, something to get you through.
That's great. I understand you have either a free offer or a discount for the audience.
I do. Thank you. Thank you for reminding me. I do. Actually, so for the first 10 people who emailed me at imreikinow.com, and you'll have that up on your website, I'm giving 30% off. And after that, it's 20% off for anyone else.
For if you're 1 to 10, you get 30%. If you're 11 and beyond, you'll get 20% off.
Yes. Yes.
Great.
Thank you for clarifying.
Not at all. Great stuff. So you can go and want to say your websites and your social media.
Oh, my website is www.imreikinow.com. That's IMREIKINOW.com. And social media, you can hit me up at Insta at I'm Reiki Now. And that's where all the videos are that you'll see, the testimonial. So it's pretty cool. And some spirit stuff.
Great. And by the way, in your profile, we'll also have a link to your book that's on Amazon. So you can check that out too. And I really would recommend it because this is really fascinating stuff, especially if you're out in if you're out in the LA area, you can go visit her directly. There's nothing better than that. But you can also do Zooms, you're virtual, so you can be wherever.
Right. Yeah, the world, global. I have clients all over. So definitely contact me. Even if it's just to talk. Like I said, I love talking about Reiki. So I'm a Reiki addict. I'm a believer.
You have been a fantastic guest. I really appreciate it. Great stuff. Great new information, even though I know that Reiki is not new, but for those who didn't know, now you know. So it's new to you. So great stuff. We'll be talking more about this in the future. And anyone go to LT's profile page. You'll see all her social media, her links, the Amazon link. You've been a wonderful guest. And remember, everyone, that we're all responsible for ourselves and we can all use a little help. Thank you very much. LT, you want to say goodbye?
Goodbye, everyone. Thank you so much. From my heart chakra to yours. Yeah.
See you next time. Thanks so much.
Bye.
Thank you for tuning in to the Self-Help Coaching Podcast, where insights, attitudes, and methods for success get illuminated. Learn what leaders and change workers have done and are doing now to create magnificent futures. Remember to visit our website at self-helpcoaching.com and enjoy even more great episodes like this one. Again, while you're here, subscribe to us via your favorite network. We look forward to seeing you next time on the Self-Help Coaching Podcast.